Hey there, I'm Tracy Rigdon, and this is the Contrast Project Lounge podcast. Often random, but always relevant, always real, and practically nothing is off limits. This podcast is for you. Are you ready for this? Let's do it. Welcome back to the program, another edition of Wednesday Night Live of the Contrast Project Lounge podcast. You know, I got a topic tonight for you guys that's pretty close to my heart since I'm getting to be an old man. I am over 60, and I was just talking with my guest coming up that I am still not a member of AARP, and she said, well, you got to get it. You got to get it. And so really that's what we're going to talk about tonight, because, you know, as you start getting a little older, you know, you notice more things than just sore knees when you get out of bed in the morning. You know, it goes to your, you know, mental acuity and that kind of thing. And as we age, you know, maintaining brain health, it becomes increasingly important to manage that. And there is a program that is coming to an event that is coming to Northeast Florida, Jacksonville specifically, AARP's Cultural Expressions, the Arts and Brain Health. And joining me tonight is Dionne Polite, AARP's Florida's Director of State Operations, to help us understand the importance of maintaining a healthy brain and what that means to us as we age. Dionne, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Tracy. It's a pleasure to be here. And let me say this to you. 60 is nothing, my friend. I'm well into my 60s as well. And I think, you know, you hear some people say, well, 60 is the new 40. No, 60 is still 60. But, you know, we are, and that's why AARP is what we are, right? So it's membership organization for people that are 50 and over to help us understand, embrace, and celebrate aging. Because it's a gift that many are denied.
Oh, absolutely. We had one of the author of Grand Plans on the program several months ago, Susanna Barton, and that's what she does, is deal with aging, and it came from her experience dealing with her aging parents, and now she's made it part of her livelihood, doing seminars, and of course she wrote a book. She's got a workbook, and I mean it's just amazing, and there's so many things that, you know, we, as we age, may take for granted, you know, right off the top of the head. And I'm not perfect with this by any means. Diet and exercise. You know, sometimes you get into a sedentary lifestyle, you know, just, you know, I know for a fact, you know, some people, you know, reach that retirement age and basically they hit the lazy boy lounger and just, the only exercise they get is lifting up and down that remote control. So, you know, but there are some things we can do. Now you bring a wealth of knowledge to us, and tell us, you know, a little bit about yourself and how you became involved in AARP Florida as the Director of Operations.
Sure. So I've been with AARP, the organization, for over 15 years. I started my career with AARP in New York, from New York, and was there for the first 7 years, and received an offer to join the leadership team in Florida. And this is kind of funny because at the time I got a call from the CEO, and at the time my husband had just retired. He was a New York State Trooper, and he had just retired.
Oh, nice.
And we had 34 inches of snow on the ground. And I was coming back in I lived in Rockland County, which it's not upstate New York, but it's north. And so you have to walk to the mailbox. I was coming back from the mailbox talking to our CEO, and I said to my husband, so Joanne wants to know if I'd be interested in a position in Florida. And he said, when do we go? It was that quick because he was tired of the snow. And as you know, he had retired. So I, in my head, was thinking, what's this guy going to do? What's plan B? You know, okay, so how are we going to reinvent ourselves? And so I joined the leadership team in Florida. We are led by probably one of the best bosses I've ever had. Not probably, he is one of the best bosses I've ever had, Jeff Johnson. He is our state director. And, we run the state of Florida. I have two peers, the director of communications, who does an amazing job telling our story. And then we have the senior director for government affairs and advocacy, who, really is out there at the Capitol, beating down the bushes and everything else in the way, and really building relationships with legislators to advocate for the voice of the 50 and over population. And so it's a really robust state. The work is good. The work is gratifying, but it's a lot. And nevertheless, I feel incredibly fulfilled to have the opportunity to really contribute and participate in ensuring that those that are 50 and over live their best life possible with AARP. So I'm waiting for you, Tracy.
Well, we talk about it a lot, me and my co-host. By the way, I meant to mention that my co-host is not with us tonight. He is, I like to say he's on assignment.
Okay. Okay.
But he is an open water swimmer.
Wow.
And swims in the ocean and in channels and that kind of thing. And I'm not talking a little bit. We're talking miles at a time.
Wow.
And he's a member of a group that swims in the ocean out at Atlantic Beach.
How amazing is that?
Yeah, they do it at sunrise. And there's like a dozen of them out there that go out there every morning. And that's what he does. When everybody else is just crawling out of bed and fixing their coffee, he's already swum a couple miles in the ocean and is on his way back home to get ready for work. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's very impressive. That's very impressive.
I know he won't mind me telling everybody that he's almost 70.
God bless him. See, he's an example. By him doing that, he will keep his brain, just pliable and just working as it should.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'd love to meet him and chat with him some, because it's what was the impetus for him doing that? Has he always been a swimmer, or is it something he decided to do? He's always been a swimmer.
He's been doing it for a long time.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And still works in the tech industries. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He is somewhat of a computer engineer.
Wow.
And a former talk show host. He had his own television show.
Wow.
Brain health for older adults, as we've gone over that. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
Now first off, like I mentioned, diet and exercise. Now, how does physical activity contribute to brain health? And basically, I'm looking at what I was always already familiar with, as I told you before we went live, the 6 main pillars, and those contain some very simple things, actually, if you think about it. Some simple things to do that everybody can do on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Can you explain to us? Can you explain to us and the audience what those 6 main pillars are?
Sure. So I'll go through them, and I'll actually break it down for you. So, in no particular order. So one is being social, and being social is a key component, right? Because what we realized, particularly during COVID, is that social isolation and loneliness led to a lot of early deaths and depression, because it's a key component to how we keep ourselves whole. It's to interact with other people, whether it's a phone call, a book club, even if it's a supermarket visit. Being social is really key, to us remaining relevant. So being social is one. Another one is engaging your brain. Now, we talked about your co-host, who is a tech person. We talked about you and I before the show that started, You showed me all these little gadgets that you have in your hand. That's all. Those are all key components to engaging our brain. I say all the time. I tell folks about, when we have gotten so accustomed to getting in the car. And for me, not say we, let me say me. I get in the car, and even if I know where I'm going, I still put it in the navigation system. And it's just because I'm lazy, right? And knowing what I know now, I try to stop myself when I want to read, because engaging the brain, an easy way to do that is to, okay, you're going to visit your girlfriends, and usually you've been there before, and usually you put, the address in to get directions. But no, just go from your memory. Exercise that brain. It's a muscle. So
Mm-hmm.
engaging the brain in a way that allows you to exercise it is key. So not using a map or not following directions, but going by what you remember
Yeah.
keeps your brain active, right? It goes the same too with playing mahjong or dominoes or card games,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, or chess or checkers, or even the crossword puzzle in the New York Times, or there's another Sudoku. All those
Mm-hmm.
things really help us engage our brain. And my mother-in-law was obsessed with crosswords, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Ongoing exercise. I'm going to go back to your co-host again. That swimming thing, man, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. Ongoing exercise is key. Now, we say that if we walk 10,000 steps a day, that
Mm-hmm.
is the goal that we should all have, right? 10,000 steps a day. It's a good full body exercise, keeps the mind, body, and spirit intact. But the other thing, then, AARP is really connected with this particular exercise is pickleball. Pickleball is a thing for the older gents
I
these
know.
days, Yes, it's a thing. And so much so that we, this year and last year, we sponsored quite a bit. We have a partnership now with the APT, which is the Pickleball Association. And we encourage people to play pickleball, but
Mm-hmm.
also doing it safely, right? Because we can get out there and, for many of us, if we were athletic in our teens and 20s and even our 30s,
Mm-hmm.
our 60-year-old bodies are not the same. But sometimes we don't make
Tell me
that
about it.
connection. We go out there. I remember the first time I went to play pickleball, I had on platform sneakers. And I mean, I look cute, but platform sneakers are not, you know, they don't make the most sense on a pickleball
No.
court.
No.
So, it's being sensible with what we do is also an important thing for me to bring to the conversation. But ongoing exercise is essential. Another one that is particularly important is restorative sleep. Getting at least 7 hours of sleep per night.
I
That,
fail at
as
that.
we
I
age,
fail at
becomes
that miserably.
me too. Me too. But you know what? I try every night. I try to do it. And I do all those things, right? I don't go to bed with my devices. I have, I'm an early bird. So I go to bed. I'm in bed by 8:30. And, I'll turn the TV off. I'll turn the lights off and make sure the room is cool. Um, just so that I can absolutely relax my temple and try to get some sleep.
Yeah.
For women, it gets to be hard, right? For many of us, I should be done with menopause, but I'm not. Don't ask me why. I ask God the same question all the time, but I haven't got any answers. But for many of us, with menopause and night sweats and just disrupted sleep, those are challenges, but we have to be intentional with making sure that we get at least 7 hours. And if you find yourself not being able to get 7 hours of sleep, then hopefully you can incorporate a power nap during the day,
Mm-hmm.
because that too can help your brain, really function at a level that you can continue to live the life
Mm-hmm.
you want to live.
Yeah.
Then there's managing stress. I mean,
Oh yeah.
there should be no more to say about that than just that. It is really understanding that you can only control what you can control.
Sure.
You can't, and particularly now, I think, Tracy, in this time that we're in, this political climate that we're in right now, people are getting really stressed out about what might be, what they're hearing, what all of those things.
Yeah.
And that is a part of our lives, right?
Yeah.
But we have to put those things in compartments. I can only control what I can control. The rest, I just have to let it go. You cannot become obsessed with things. I say to my husband is one in particular, screaming at the TV. And that means what?
I know a
That
few.
means what?
I know a few.
So you don't get an answer back. So what's the point? So it's rationalizing with yourself and saying, you know what? That is something that is out of my control. I'm going to let go and just let it be. And then another really good one, a really important one, is eating healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know we are today, or within the last couple of days, McDonald's, that's always been an easy thing for people, E. coli. So, it was like a couple of years ago when Chipotle, there was something around Chipotle and people, stepped away from Chipotle. We have to understand that our bodies are our temples. We get what we put in is what we get out, right? So if we put in junk, we find ourselves in junky situations. But making healthy choices. I know a couple of years ago I gave my staff a book called The Blue Zone, and it was around the premise of the book was around people, eating a Mediterranean diet, and people in Europe and in some parts of America as well, just incorporating exercise, socializing, eating well, right, making sure they had iron and particular proteins in their diet that enable green leafy vegetables, and all of those things that enable them to show up as their best selves, whether they're 60, 50, 40, 30, 70, 80, whatever. We have to give our bodies a chance to ensure that we live, the best life we can live.
And
that means,
I will tell you, and this kind of, I just want to interrupt you for just a second. You just mentioned,
no, that's okay.
You just mentioned, two things: the restaurants, for one, and then you said something about green leafy vegetables. And I will tell you, and going back also to the the exercise portion of it, I actually do ride 3 miles a day on a bicycle.
Oh my God!
And every morning, first thing in the morning, I put on my pot of coffee. That's a ritual, and I go out on the back porch and talk to my cats. I got 14 cats out. I've got 14 feral cats.
Are you kidding me?
No. And then I'm on a big piece of property. On the back of my property, I have a garden. I have a garden back there, and I always walk. I walk to my garden in my bare feet. It's one of those things we call grounding.
Yes, I love that.
And in my garden, I have 3 30-foot rows. And I recently, going to the green leafies, I recently planted one full 30-foot row of collards.
Oh, man.
And another 30-foot row of turnips.
Oh, do you know how to cook, Tracy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, all right.
So that's part of my getting in, to that kind of thing. But like I said, I failed miserably at the 7 hours of sleep at night. I may get 4.
Well,
and then I fall asleep on the couch occasionally during the day, but that's not the same thing.
Nap. Yeah. That's a power nap.
Yeah.
That's a power nap.
It's all good.
It is. Yeah, we have to. I don't think we can accomplish all of those 6 pillars in one quick swipe. It is a progression, right? The other thing I think it's important to mention is around smoking, right?
Yeah.
Not smoking, not drinking, or not indulging, to the extreme in those things, because that too can lead to deterioration of the brain, and
Sure.
that's important as well. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So those are the 6 pillars, and those are the those are the things that we try to stress. Brain health has become at AARP an enterprise-wide strategy. And so that means that we are intentional with incorporating that conversation when we talk to our members or within communities to make sure that there is an awareness, right? And we're not expecting magic to happen overnight or even within a month, like a lot of people now are, this is a big trend, right? They find themselves a little robust in the weight department, and so they go to the doctor and put me on that, whatever that is.
Sure.
But even the doctors, because I tried myself, to tell you the truth, my doctor said, well, no, let me see what you can do in your own part, So it is exercising and establishing a routine that helps you adapt healthier behaviors that are really key, right? Whether you're on some sort of medicine to aid you in that process or you're doing it on your own, just as long as you take the steps toward that. That's what's important.
Sure. And we talked about the diet, exercise, sleep, physical activity, socialization, managing stress. Well, there's something very, indeed something, an event coming up in Northeast Florida, the AARP's Cultural Expressions, the Arts, and Brain Health. And that's going to be on, I believe, November 7th at the Ritz Theater, I believe it is. Yeah, that's going to be fabulous. Not only for the content and, the speakers and so forth, but the venue itself has got a lot of history. So that's you couldn't have picked a better place to do it, really. I mean, it's very nice.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about this event. What's going to be going on there?
Sure. So Jill Ald, who's on my team, is putting this together, and it's going to be exciting, right? It's a real social event. The program will consist of presentation from a family who are going to talk about their own experience around brain health, specifically dementia, Alzheimer. So you're going to get a caregiver's perspective, right? How they are managing that process. There's going to be performances, music performances. There's going to be art demonstrations. Two, actually. One is an artist, a local artist, and the other artist is me. Because besides being at AARP and doing what I do there, I'm also an artist. And,
right.
And so I will be talking about how I got into this world of art and what it's done for my own mental health. So, Tracy, in 2021, February 2021, my father passed away of complications of dementia. And in August of 2021, my mother passed away from ovarian cancer. And what happened is that she was taking care of my dad and neglected her own health, and in turn, met with to me earlier than she should have gone. Then in 2022, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with dementia. My father-in-law was taking care of her. He passed in 2022, and so my mother-in-law, who I've known since I was 12 years old, moved in with us. They were in Palm Coast, and my mother and my husband brought his mother to live with us. And as I said, she had dementia. And I think everything she felt about me that she never said, she said. So it became an incredibly trying experience for me, right? Because my husband and I were empty nesters, and all of a sudden, I have, an angry Black woman who's 80-something years old coming at me strong. And when my dad was ill, I started painting then, just because it was during COVID, right? And just to center myself a little bit, because I was a daddy's girl, and that painting continued through my mom's illness and through my father-in-law's, and I was doing it sort of just to keep myself centered and sort things out. I'm a self-taught artist, and my mother-in-law passed in late 2023. But I kept it up, and I kept up with the art because it brought me, first of all, like I said, I taught myself, right? So I engaged my brain in that way. And there was such a sense of peace that I got from, from creating artwork,
Hmm.
that it's just something, and there's more to the story. And so I would encourage anybody that wants to learn more that they should come to this event because,
That's amazing too, and I think a lot of people will learn something from that because it's not uncommon for seniors who retire and get a little older. It's not uncommon for seniors to revisit some of their youthful hobbies, and
absolutely.
one of those being art. It's not
Yes,
uncommon at all.
yes, yes, absolutely. That's also true. If you've ever done karaoke, if you go to those places, a lot
Oh
of the
yeah,
people that go up to the mic are older people, right? So it's a way, really, it's a way to rediscover ourselves, and
sure.
and we encourage that, right? Um, because as we age, so does our brain. So how do we keep it flexible and pliable? And those are things, those things that we may have loved. Um I've always been a doodler, and I remember in school, and my teachers would always say, Dionne, are you focused? And I'd say, yeah, I'm focused. And why are you doing that? But it was a way for me to trigger my brain to actually listen to what I was learning. It was just, yeah, and I still now. I mean, still now, I could be in an important meeting, and somebody will tap my finger because I have journals filled with doodles, and those doodles are pieces of art. You know,
Hmm.
um, there's actually a legislator here in Florida. One of my favorite, we're not partisan, but one of my favorite human beings. He's an artist, and and uh, when my first visit to the Capitol in D.C., we do congressional visits, and I visited her office, and she was doodling, and I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "This is how I listen and focus. This is what I do." And she gifted me with a piece of art. I was overjoyed, and she said, since I shared my story that I doodle as well, she said, "Don't ever let anybody talk you out of that. It shows that you have an exceptional brain." And I have one of her pieces that she gave me, and I've since gifted her a piece of art as well. And I have it in my office to remind me that it's okay. You know, me doing what I do does not
Yeah,
have to fit into anybody's cubbyhole, right? It's just what I do because it makes me feel good.
sure, sure, sure. Now, uh, so we talked about the six pillars. Now, how can people, and pretty much it may be common sense to most people, and it may not be, or they may not pay close attention to it because of the day to day, you know, routine in life. Life comes at you every
Yeah.
day. That things you got to do. How can individuals integrate these pillars, of brain health into their daily routine? Like you say, you doodle, and
Yeah.
that legislator,
Yeah.
when she's sitting there talking to you, she's doodling, and
Yep.
that's
Yep.
an integration of it.
Absolutely. I'll tell you a couple of things. Um, it's take it one step at a time. Don't make unrealistic goals for yourself,
Hmm.
right? And decide. The six pillars. You don't have to do all six at once. Decide to do the ones that seem attainable. For me, it is um, I'm going to make healthier choices in how I eat.
Hmm.
That's one of the things that I can be in control of that. When I have 1,500 calories a day, make sure I drink a lot of water. Those are easy things to do. Another one is being social. That, even for people that are introverted, my husband is very introverted, but even for people that are introverted, being social doesn't mean you go into a center of a crowd and start chatting away. It could
Right.
be taking yourself to the gym. It could be like you do, Tracy, taking a ride. And as you're riding, you see your neighbors, you say good morning, good evening. You're interacting with fellow human beings. It could be sitting and just talking with the cats as you do, right? They may not answer you back the way you want them to answer you back, but but you're engaging. You're not stuck behind four walls, confined, and not engaging,
Well, I
not
will tell you,
enjoying.
a few of those cats do talk to me. Uh, they
In a
they
language you understand.
they answer me and look at me, and then I got this one booger out there. He's a big male cat. He just gives
Uh-huh.
me the stink eye. You know, I'll say something to him, and he stops right in his tracks and just looks at me. Like what?
Like, what is that you saying? Why are you talking to
And
me
and
right now?
and you were talking about socialization now. Socialization. My father is nearing 90 now, and he's
God
a
bless them.
cancer survivor. Uh,
Oh,
and
praise
uh,
God. Look at that.
and just recently, it's getting to where he can't get around very well. He uses a
Uh,
cane, and he's on oxygen, and it's
uh,
hard to get around. And he's a big man, so
uh-huh.
it's hard for him to walk around the house. So recently, he started noticing, that I was riding that bike 3 miles every single day. My
Uh-huh.
parents live with me, both of them. They're
Oh,
both still
wow.
alive.
Beautiful.
Uh,
Beautiful.
and
What a
and
blessing.
yeah, and being my sister and I had made decision long ago, since I'm the retired nurse, I drew the
Yes.
short straw. So
Yes. Yes.
and
Makes
she lives
sense.
in Maryland. So anyway, anyway, he had an old stationary bicycle, a stationary bike,
Uh,
in one of the rooms upstairs, right? Uh, and it's not like traditional, you sit up. It's kind of like you lean back,
right.
and you pedal. One of
Oh,
one of
yes.
those.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Well, he asked me to get it out of mothballs and bring it downstairs so he could start riding it, because he wants to do that. So
Bless
he's been
them.
doing. He got up to, over the last few weeks. He got up to 2 miles a day.
My
So
God.
yeah, yeah. He's a hard head. But and going back to the socialization thing,
Yeah.
you were saying, even if it's going out, it doesn't have to be in a crowd or whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
my father, for instance, he has a weekly routine, whether he needs it or not. He has to go to the grocery store, and
Yes. That's
and
a good
and
one.
about I would say maybe 8 months ago, some maybe 7 or 8 months ago, it got to where it was painful to walk around the store and carry that oxygen with him. It's not a
Uh,
tank; it's
yeah.
a
Yeah.
tankless thing. But
Yeah. The little
those
thing. Yeah. Yes.
those things are still like 5 or 8 pounds. I mean,
Yes,
it's a
they
little
are.
bit of weight.
Yes.
So it got to where it was terrible, and I told him, I said, "Well, just get in one of those electric carts.
That's
They got
right.
all the grocery stores have them." And I thought he would be
They do.
embarrassed, and basically it was a pride thing. He didn't
Yeah.
want to, ride around the store
Of
in one of
course.
those
I
damn
get it.
damn
Yeah.
things got a flag on the back of it.
uh,
you know, and I'm
uh,
not kidding you. The very first time he rode that thing through the grocery store, he fell in love with it.
uh,
Fell in love with it.
oh,
He
wow.
said, "Oh, this is okay." I
Hey, that's a
told you.
beautiful thing, right?
I told
That's a
you.
beautiful
So
thing.
so now he
Yes.
can't wait. He can't wait to go to the grocery store every week, once a week. The lady
I
at the
mean, I
hot
think that's beautiful.
and the lady at the hot food counter knows him by name, and she always says, she said, "Well, just call me next time, and I'll have some of this made up for you."
Oh,
So
wow.
that's a socialization thing,
Yes.
and it's
Yes, it
and he
is.
still
Yes,
he
it
still
is.
has to walk from the he had to, walk to the cart, and walk around the
Right.
truck, and still has and that's
Yeah.
another thing. The man's still driving.
Whoa. It is
Yeah,
90.
almost 90, 89. Yeah,
Wow.
and he can keep it
That's
between the lines.
amazing.
And he can keep it
God
between the
bless him.
lines.
Hey, listen. That's a beautiful thing. That is
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. And I would love to have a conversation with him. What has he done to really, because usually when people get to be that age, they decided they can't do it anymore. But what did
Yeah.
he do in his youth that enabled him to still continue with that sort of momentum? And he's
Hardworking,
a survivor.
hardworking man. Hardworking man. He's a naval veteran.
Beautiful.
Naval
Oh
veteran, worked
man.
in a pulp mill for like 24
Wow.
years, and then he worked as a
Wow.
prison guard after he
Wow.
retired from the pulp mill, and then went to work at a prison, as a prison guard.
Wow.
He built this house that we're in,
My God.
It's a big 2-story cedar house out in the middle of nowhere. He built it 40
Wow.
years ago.
God bless him.
So
That is amazing, Tracy.
he refused when he was diagnosed with cancer. He refused to let it kick his ass. And
Yeah.
there was a time there for a while where the Lazy Boy Lounger was his home. And he decided he just decided that he's not going to do it anymore. So he got that stationary bike, and now he's up to 2 miles a day on it. Unbelievable.
Good for him.
Yeah.
How about your
Yeah.
mom?
She's about 86, I believe it is, and she still sits on the chair.
Okay. Well,
She is
maybe he'll
very
motivate her somehow.
she's very sedentary. Very, very. We try to talk her into moving around more, but
yeah. Maybe she can help you in the garden. Maybe when you get the collard greens,
that
make
ain't
her
never
rinse them out before
that
you bring
ain't
them
never gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
Well, you can put it out there and just see what
I know.
what she attaches herself to. That's
I
it.
know.
I mean, our brain really, as we age, it ages with us, right? But
Sure.
it is what we're ready to do. And that is just because it's a natural, it's a natural process that starts at birth, right? So
Sure.
it's a part of the whole life cycle, and it just continues through for our entire lifespan, and it is up to us, as I said before, to take the responsibility for our tempo. And not everybody's going to have the same momentum, right? Not everybody's going to want to do the same
Sure.
thing, but at least people know that there are options that are available to them. And I always say as well, it's a no judgment zone because we're grown. We've earned the right to do what we want to do, how we want to do it,
Sure.
when we want to do it. So, your mom at 80 something, damn it, if she doesn't feel like doing it, she doesn't have to do it, right?
No.
But,
No.
for others that may have the inclination to, they need to know about, what the options are, what sorts of things are going on, and so that they can make decisions that work for them.
Yeah.
And be more knowledgeable about how to go about doing such,
Right. Like you said, we're getting a little older, and we're entitled to do whatever the heck we want to do. I'll tell you, since my early 50s, maybe even before that, I totally lost my filter. Totally.
Welcome to my world.
Filter went out the window.
Yes. But we earned that right. We earned that right, though.
I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. I write a column on Substack, and it is totally different than the podcast. And I actually have a disclaimer on there that says this Substack contains profanity because that's it. Because that's the only way I can describe the current political shit show. That's exactly what it says.
I love that. I love that. I love that. You know what? And I love that you have the freedom to express yourself in that manner.
Yeah.
I think that's the way it should be. I say this all the time. I coined this phrase in New York and I brought it to Florida, and that is from 1 to 50 is what we're learning. From 50 on is what we're living. And we need, when you reach that stage and that age, live your life the way you want to live it, right? Live your life the way you want to live it. As long as you're not harming anyone or even harming yourself, live your life the way you want to live it. And that's AARP's role, right? We want to make sure we are there to provide you with tools, tips, information, resources to enable you to do that, to have that level of independence, to have that level of knowledge so that you are aware of all that it takes in order to live your life like a grown-ass person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Before we conclude here, let's go back over the upcoming event on November 7th. What can people expect? Again, maybe some timeline. I know there's a meet and greet, and then there's like a meal or something like that. Give us a timeline and
Yeah.
what people can expect that are going to be attending the event. And by the way, Jim and
So,
I just may be there.
oh, that'll be special. That'll be really be
Hmm.
special. So Jill Auld, who is on my team, is the Associate State Director responsible for Jacksonville and the outskirts of Jacksonville. And she has planned, she along with her colleague Mariana Antonoli, has planned this event that will start at 6:30. Well, there's a social hour at 5:30. I too will be there. So you'll see me in person too.
Cool.
But it starts at 5:30, and then the program will start at 6:30, and there'll be welcomes and introductions and all that sort of stuff. And I talked a little bit before about the family presentation. Then there'll be a speaker from Elder Source, and that representative will talk about the resources that are available to help family
Hmm.
and support families that are dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's. And then there's a dinner, yum yum.
Yay.
And we'll enjoy a great dinner. It's a buffet dinner, networking and discussing event logistics. Attendees will be encouraged during dinner to share personal stories or memories of what they've learned or came art, music, whatever their particular interest may be. Then I told you about the artist presentation. One is me, and another is a local artist that will be there. And then there is a speaker from the Mayo Clinic, and I'm really looking forward to that presentation. And then somebody from the Alzheimer's Association, and then the evening will close out, and we should be complete by 8:30.
Oh,
So it's a
that's
nice, robust agenda. Yeah.
nice.
And I mean, the key thing for me is that we're going to be fed. Um, and
I like that part.
listen, let me tell you, I talk about eating healthy, but I also like to eat. So, and I'm looking forward to it. Jill does an incredible job with the ways in which she engages the communities that she is charged with serving and representing the organization.
We have
And
someone in the audience here by the name of Bonita. She is asking
oh,
if
Bonita,
she wants to know if she can come.
absolutely, absolutely, come on down, come on down. I love that name, Bonita, which means beautiful, doesn't it, Tracy?
It does. Que bonita.
Yes, get Bonita. I love that. Bonita, your mama did you well naming you Bonita. That's lovely. Yes, and so I would invite those that and I think Tracy, there's probably a link to the event
There
on
is
your
somewhere.
website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I believe,
people will be able to.
yeah, that as well as, and Reese, our friend Reese Dickerson, who turned me on to this event, my good friend,
Uh-huh.
his
Uh-huh.
mother is part of the Alzheimer's Association, I believe, or is going to be
Oh,
recognized.
lovely.
I believe she's going to be recognized at the event. But he'll be there, and the man is a wonderful singer, by the way. Reese, shout out to
Oh
you,
my
buddy.
goodness.
But his family is very involved in the church and very involved in the Alzheimer's community.
Oh,
So,
beautiful.
so yeah,
Beautiful. Yeah.
yeah,
It takes a village, you know.
yeah. And I believe they're going to
That's
I believe they're going to be printing a flyer for that as well.
oh, lovely.
His
Yes,
family,
I
yeah,
believe so.
yeah,
I believe so. So that'll really be it will be an experience. It will
yeah.
be an experience, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, it'll
And
be
Tracy, I have
fantastic.
to thank you for, taking the time out to chat with me a little bit today. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. And I'm actually going to have some of my artwork there on display.
Good.
This is a cool thing. I have since I started painting, I have been a featured artist for Art Basel.
Oh,
I have
Miami.
had exhibitions. Yeah, and I've
Hmm.
had exhibitions as well. And so I'm feeling. And then there's another part of the story that I'm going to share at the event. So if they want to know more, come.
There we go.
And for those, for those people that know me, come and learn something new and different that you may not have known. So, I'm really looking forward to it. It will be both informative and enjoyable. So, what else can you ask for?
Very good. Very good. I tell you what, Benita, Benita. I see Benita's name up here in the chat.
Benita,
Well, Benita,
you can call me Benita. I'll answer. Yes.
Dionne, it's been a pleasure having you here on the podcast. I tell you, we learned a lot today, and I certainly hope that those that were watching and those that will be watching when I post it on our YouTube channel. By the way, I'll have the links on the YouTube channel for everybody as well, and on the website.
Great.
And then they can stream it. They will be able to stream the audio for those that only listen. That will be available on all your major streaming platforms. So thank you so much for being here. And for everybody that's watching, tune in next week, next Wednesday night. Jim will be back from being on assignment. Next Wednesday night, we'll be interviewing Dr. Tracy Paulson, the Director of Strategic Partnerships for the City of Jacksonville. Dionne, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay.
Take care, Tracy.
Well, that's a wrap. Another fantastic episode of the podcast. You can find us on all the social media platforms, wherever you surf, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Threads, wherever. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. And on our YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, comment, and smash that subscribe button. If you're streaming audio for the podcast, you can find us wherever you get your favorite podcast programs. In the meantime, I like to tell everybody, take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, peace.